Hey everyone, welcome to the very first JAMBOXX Podcast. I'm here with my father. We're going to go over the news for sports this past week. Starting off with the NBA playoffs, we're currently in the conference semifinals, and we have a lot of interesting matchups and interesting upsets at that. Starting off with the West, we have OKC versus Denver. Denver, surprisingly to me, being up against OKC. I personally had OKC going to the conference finals easily. However, Jokic definitely was able to be a presence on the court.
Easily? Come on, bro. I'm not trying to be mean, but easily? They have no experience in the playoffs. Not to be mean. They're young.
They are a young team.
But, and again, I know they're the number one seed, but I just think Jokic is just too great. I'm not really great, bro. I mean, you don't see a big man doing what he does. Commands the court, floor general, leader, energy. Energy as a big man. The other teams, like I said earlier, the other big men don't want to chase him. They don't even look forward to playing him. So when you command that presence, to me, it's no surprise that the fourth seed is beating the number one seed. So what is a shock is what Indiana's doing over there. They just won their third game, and they're up 3-1 against Cleveland. And I don't know if anybody predicted this, and I know I didn't, but I am very happy for Halliburton. But he's just out there grinding and fighting because a lot of people out there calling him. He's not what he is, what people think he is, and he just keeps on slamming these doors and fighting. So I definitely like him. What do you think's going on over there in Cleveland in that side of the bracket, bro?
To me, it's no shocker that they're up. I did not predict them to be up this much. I did have Cleveland gonna pull this one out close, but because I just had Celtics versus Cleveland in the conference finals in the East. However, Indiana's, creeping in there. Halliburton was rated by the fans after the regular season as the most overrated player in the league, and he's flipping the script, y'all.
Yeah, you can't listen to fans.
It's definitely nice to see an underdog, but man, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been so dominant throughout the regular season that it's hard to deny. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is clearly going off in the playoffs too.
Even Indiana being up 3-1, it's like in my mindset is like Cleveland's still coming back to win this. I mean, the way Indiana's pulling out ways to win these games at the end, you got to believe it's going to end. But they keep on pulling out the wins at the end, some spectacular stuff. So could this be the storybook? It might be because they already laying the dang chapters down, chapter by chapter, and this is one of them. It's pretty impressive. So yeah, I definitely like that it's we're talking about it, and it's a chess match.
It might go down as one of the biggest upsets. I mean, if they make it into the conference finals, which they have a very good chance. I mean, they're up 3-1, y'all. If they win one more, it's over for the Cavaliers. And could you imagine Indiana Pacers being ranked number 4 going to the finals? Especially on the East. I mean, the West is looking pretty strong.
But you know how they say it is no matter what. During the playoffs, it's a new season. It's whoever's the healthiest at the end and whoever's clicking at the very end. And a lot of these teams are doing that. Especially, let's go to the New York and Boston. Come on, man. They're up 2-0 against Boston.
Yeah, I definitely had Boston winning against the Knicks going to the conference finals. And honestly, I knew it'd be close, but right now, Knicks are, showing out.
I don't even know how they're doing it. I know they're playing great ball, and I know they got players. I just don't think they had the players to beat the Boston Celtics. And now they're leading 2-0.
And it's some would argue it's just a chemistry thing. Some of these guys are just gelling together really well, making the plays happen and, going on these runs.
It shows one thing. To go deep in these leagues, you have to have that general. You know what I'm saying? You have to have the general. And especially a point. Someone that's going to be touching the ball a lot. And they do have that. I don't even know if the Celtics really have a true point.
Let's go back to the West real quick for Golden State versus Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, number 6 and 7th seed making it into the conference semifinals. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm I'll be honest. I think I was talking about this earlier. I'm really hoping that Golden State can go and advance through this. But I know they're hurt because every season after this season, it's not like Steph is going to be younger and younger. And so I'm trying to get the best out of him at the moment. And to me, these two are just playing to survive because they're about to get beat by the next. So, and that's my opinion.
So you believe that whoever wins in the West for OKC versus Denver should be going to the finals?
Correct.
So that's the pivotal game to watch, or series, I should say.
Could you see a Pacers against the Denver?
I can right now. I genuinely can. Pacers definitely would have to get past the Knicks or the Celtics. That brings me to my next topic. Which conference do you think is the strongest? Me personally, looking at all the stats and gameplay, I'd have to say the East looks like a stronger conference than the West right now.
It's so subjective. It really is. Could you imagine this? Let's just kind of think forward. Since New York is up, New York against Denver in the championship?
New York is definitely putting on a clinic, especially against the number 2 seed at that, and former world champs.
Think about this game. Think about New York versus Indiana. That's going to be a highly sought after watch game series. I know I'm all in. 2 point guards that can really control the floor, and going at it like a heavyweight fight. Jab, 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 boom.
The two underdogs of the East.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's going to be eyes on them.
But both those teams, if you look at them, have great point guards and they're gelling. Phew, this is good. This is the soap opera that we want to look for that's going into the NBA playoffs. These are the things that we're kind of looking on and following the stories because they're going to be ever changing and it dictates off of how the health of each player is. So, but man, what a chess match going on in the playoffs for the NBA playoffs.
Next, let's go into the Cinco de Mayo weekend. Of course, we had a huge boxing card, 3 of them to be exact, throughout the whole weekend. On the Friday, we had Ring Magazine putting on a huge show in New York, right on Times Square, featuring Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Devin Haney, and Ramirez, and Teofimo versus Barbosa Jr. Huge stack card. I was definitely looking forward to it. I think a lot of people around the world were looking to it. Let's go into the actual venue itself. What'd you think of it? Like Times Square.
Oh man. When they announced this, I was wondering how they're going to do it. I mean, you're going to, we call it the money capital of the world, and shutting down Times Square. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I wonder how you come up with that thought. You understand what I'm saying? How do I envision that I'm going to put a boxing ring on with the top 3 stars in boxing in the middle of the money capital of the world and tell the money of the capital of the world freeze? So that of its own is just amazing. I'm glad that it happened and I got to live through it and watch it. But in hindsight, I personally think I think the matchmaking sucked, but then I'm going to go in this route. I think the matchmaking was on point because I think we're where we want to be for the next upcoming fights.
And, that's an interesting thing to say. I'm going to ask you a few questions on that. The matchmaking itself, why put on such a big show for New York if you were setting up the fights coming up afterwards?
Yeah, okay. So the big thing is the king.
The Turkish Excellency?
Yeah.
For Rida season?
Yeah. LSG. He, you gotta understand this is new. He just bought Ring magazine. He's putting all these people in place, and this is on the fly. All right. So I think that with the money that he commands, he has an opportunity to make mistakes or just learn from them. So what we're seeing is a learning curve. And I think we got what we wanted to see out there. I mean, let's go to the Teofimo and Barbosa Jr. fight. Okay, that's the one that started off. So let's go. Let's talk about that fight. And it started off really well. I think Teofimo brought the energy, the speed, the power, the entertainment factor.
He was definitely a showmanship.
I mean, but he was working behind his jab. All right. I think Barbosa's did the best he could, but Teo was just that much better than him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, to me, great matchmaking by the matchmaker.
Both great fighters. Barbosa Jr. just won a title against Ramirez in his last fight, and he was a big guy. Let's be honest. He was definitely big for 140.
Yeah, but he was slower.
He definitely was slower. It looked like Teofimo definitely had a bit more skill, more speed, and
I don't know about a bit more skill. I want to say a lot more skill. I think he could have went deeper into his bag, but he didn't need to. I think actually he really forced a lot of stuff to try to even create a great fight.
That's fair. I think that, Barbosa Jr. couldn't show his full potential because Teofimo was he was fighting his fight, and Barbosa Jr. couldn't adapt or adjust to the speed, the skill, the angles that Teofimo was going off at. And by the time he did start figuring out, it was getting a little bit too late to where Barbosa Jr. might have started forcing things. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I just don't think that Barbosa has what it takes in his bags of skills. I really think he's a great fundamental boxer. All right. When you watch him, he's very fundamental, skillful, but so is Teo. But Teo has a swag into him. He shoots things at a different angle. He blocks at different angles. He shoots. He does the different things that makes him more entertaining. Barbosa is a great cookie cutter boxer that has whoever's taught him has laid down the fundamentals, and he stuck to those fundamentals where it's not too much off of a stick. It's more of a picky boot kind of stuff. So it's just not, in my opinion, as entertaining.
And Teofimo, as we did see, won by unanimous decision on all the different cards. There was no surprise there. Objectively, I did see the fight Teofimo's way. Completely by multiple rounds. Great showing for New York.
Let's put it like this. So after they fought, I was pretty excited for the next two fights because I thought Teo brought the energy. I thought it set the stage. But so I thought it was going to lead right into the Devin Haney and Ramirez fight, which is another test coming up.
Yes, especially after Devin Haney, had a pretty... I can't say loss because it was taken off, no contest, due to Ryan Garcia's, controversial PED usage and coming in overweight. As you can tell, the Haney's got a lot of backlash from social media about that, as Devin Haney's performance didn't, show or exemplify a champion. And during the fight, Haney got knocked down multiple times and was stunned multiple times. And the technicalities has him as a no contest. But going into this fight on this type of stage, I mean, pulling up as ring walks in cars, we're outdoor in the middle of Times Square outside on
the city buzzing around them.
Right. I mean everyone. Rooftops, penthouses, the street, it is absolutely slam packed, and it's setting up the rematch. I mean, going into this it's a lot of pressure. We'll just say nonetheless for Devin Haney, as he's caught a lot of hate on social media, let alone probably people close to him, just for what happened. But yeah, he definitely boxed. I mean, he showed out. He got the win.
Okay, look, let's be real. Going into the Haney fight, the questions are: can Haney move up in weight and still be effective? Because he wasn't a big puncher already. All right, he was known to having a great jab. All right, and moving and setting things up. All right, so could he move up to a Mexican style boxer and sustain and outbox and weather the storm of a heavier boxer that's known to be a killer? All right. So my question was, I thought Ramirez was going to go in there and smoke him out. All right. I was wrong. All right. Because Ramirez shouldn't be in the ring. All right. And I know they're going to hate on me and they're not going to like what I'm going to say. But if you go back and look at that fight, count how many jabs Ramirez threw. So I'm not hating on Devin Haney and Bill Haney for Devin running around and getting off angles. All right, and making the fight a little tit-tat and do whatever they wanted to do. Because Ramirez didn't throw a fucking jab. Excuse me, oops. But Ramirez didn't throw a jab, people. Y'all can all go back and watch that fight. So everybody wants to talk about Haney. I'm going to tell you, Bill, super proud of y'all. Devin, proud of y'all. On to the next one. Y'all did exactly what it was supposed to take to do to get that win at 140 and moving up. So, forget about everybody. Y'all do y'all. Was the fight any good? No.
It wasn't quite entertaining from a fan perspective.
No, right.
But Devin Haney definitely adjusted to what was given to him in order to secure the win. And at the end of the day, from a boxer and business standpoint, that's all you need. That's all that matters.
That's right.
And he went in there, did what he needed to do. Personally, I definitely was looking forward to a better fight. I mean, I'm not surprised with the type of style that Devin Haney was doing throughout the ring because he is moving up in weight.
I thought he did a fantastic job of adjusting to a different weight class and moving around and being smart. So again, people, this is a business. The Haneys are winning the business of boxing. So again, shout out to the Haneys. Bill, congratulations. Devin, congratulations. On to the next one. Y'all are winners. All right, so let's go into the Ryan Garcia versus Rolly fight.
Wow, what a fight. I mean, just complete upset at that. Nobody was really expecting Rolly to even win, especially after his last couple performances. I know he just won to defend the title. Now he's defending his current title against fresh Ryan Garcia that is moving up in weight. This was no surprise as he came in overweight for Haney. But he flipped the script and he was confident coming into it.
Bro, I'm going to put it like this. And this is the questions I got. All right. Did Ryan Garcia look like the last Ryan Garcia?
No.
He did not. He did not look one bit. I get it. He's been out of the ring for a year. Ring rust. All right. But when the King's going to throw $20 million in the front of you and say, go fight this kid and you know you can beat him and you're going to take that $20 million and say, shit. But anyways, so I think in his mind, he thought he was good. Ryan with his hook and said, I beat him up last time. I mean, I'm different now. I'm better. I'm faster. The questions is like, do you think that PED really made him like that Superman he was out when he beat Devin?
And that's what a lot of people are running to right now because now the whole thing that Haney was going through and the backlash that he's getting, now it's like, wait a minute, Ryan, you're not fighting like you did against Haney. You're not as active. You're not throwing the hook as much. Just some fan feedback and everyone's questioning, did the PEDs help Ryan and how long has he been on them?
Okay, so I don't know much about the PEDs. I know he looks slow. And again, to my I'm going to say ring rust and just, you got to respect the sport at the pro level. I don't know if Ryan really respected to the point that he needed to get in there. I don't know, bro. To be off a year, you normally get a what? Tune up. something to get your feet wet. It's something to, you move forward. You've been out for a while. He didn't have a tune-up. All right. So, and to go against, okay, now listen, me, Team Medeiros lives in Vegas now. We actually hang out with Rolly. All right. And he's my guy, man. I'm going to tell you. Sometimes, I'll be real, y'all. This is what I don't know if Rolly's for real or fucking faking it, but he's selling it. All right. In my opinion, Rolly's damaged. Y'all need to go fucking attack his ass and beat on him. Don't let him beat on you. That's my opinion. All right. But I'm going to tell you, it's hard to tell if Rolly's really acting it or faking it. All right. But I do believe certain fights have told certain stories about where Rolly is when he gets hit. Okay, so we'll put that to rest. If I'm fighting Rolly next, I'm coming at him and I'm saying, F this. If one of us getting knocked out, let me test to see if he's all there. On the hindsight, Rolly, you my guy, man. You just flipped the whole fucking script, bro. I love it. You just turned everything around.
What a great comeback. I mean, losing to Pitbull, losing to Tank. Obviously, both really, really great contenders within boxing. Shout out to them. But, everyone was questioning if Rolly's even any good, And he had a title defense. Now he went against a guy that just came off of destroying Devin Haney, where people were saying that Devin Haney should have a loss. He shouldn't have the belt. All this other stuff, and everyone's looking at Ryan, the main headliner at that. Coming on Times Square. It's definitely a fast process, and Rolly was competent throughout all of it. I mean, even in the weigh-ins, the press conference, he was still there.
Well, you know what? As these boxers get older and wiser, they seem to mellow out. And I thought that's what Rolly was doing. I thought Rolly was like, yeah, I just played this game. I'm getting this bag. I made it. I can just chill. And then when he got in there and he put him down, now it's like, yo, this is my world now.
Yeah. I mean, second round too. Do you think that played a factor in how Ryan adjusted throughout the fight and how the inactivity was occurring?
Okay, let's be real. Ryan's my guy too. I grew up with him, watching him and his brother come through the amateurs. Ryan's a boy. All these guys are boys. We all want to be men and be hard. You see how hard he cried at the end in his van. It's because he really thought he was still that guy. I bet you he's questioning, saying the things, what you do as a boxer. When you don't perform, you start going back like, oh, I cut my gym time early this time. I wasn't really working like the camp I was working on. I wasn't focused, But Ryan's, even though he lost, he's the real winner. He's Mexican. Everybody wants to watch him box. So he ain't really lost. So and you got to remember, Ryan's really never won a world title. He's the real winner, bro. So, yeah. And going back to this Rolly saga thing, when Rolly was losing, all these people were closing doors on him. But Rolly just kept on social media, kept being him, kept building his brand. And he just kept doing him, and he shut out the naysayers. And look what has came around, an opportunity. And he killed it. And now the world's his. And I'm be honest, it's very gratifying to see a young man fight.
And, even
for all of it.
Even Teofimo, they were asking him what he thought right after the fight, and Teofimo was all for it. He was like, good for Rolly.
Yeah, but you want to know something? One thing about that is both those guys came up together when they were coming up. They sparred each other. They really created a bond with each other. Even though they talk shit to make money, they really have a little brotherhood in front of them. So, and I know about this. Some of these people don't know about this. No, it's just these stories. Follow these stories. A lot of time, Rolly wasn't the greatest amateur boxer.
Started at late age at that for boxing.
Right.
17,
And then
18.
and I know I'm hypocritical about a lot of this stuff, but Rolly didn't really have a great fundamental. All right. And a lot of boxers don't, but you can stretch those fundamentals and become a champion with inside them. Depends how hard you work and how much heart you put in it. So, and then a little luck plays in it too, and some great promotion company help build you, and you have a great matchmakers that help build you and get you to the point. So what I'm trying to say is doors are going to shut, man. All you got to do is keep fighting. That's it to it. People ask me all the time. All right, I know we're getting off a little bit, but people ask me all the time. You think your daughter's one of the greatest, and I says, man, I know she's one of the greatest. Is it going to go perfect? I highly doubt it. Will she lose? Yes, I believe so. But this is a career. She does what she loves. These boxers do what they love. They enjoy everything about it. And so that's and these great stories that are coming about right now over this weekend. Even though boxing kind of lacked, it's due to matchmaking, but there might be a real story behind it. So, but there's still some good stories for the people that follow these guys through the amateurs. And then, these, man, look at them. Here, let's be real. Tiafimo, I don't know much about Barbosa, but we know Devin, we know Rolly, we know Ryan. We know them all from the amateurs. They were all kids trying to just make it. And now they're all fighting multi-million-dollar fights. You see what I'm saying? So we got to be the realism of it. So, but with that being said, I look for the different matchups that are going to be coming up with the three guys, and we'll talk about those coming up soon. But let's get into the monkey in the room. Canelo versus Skull Rai season.
This season had Turkish Excellency once again going Canelo versus Skull, the Cuban fighter, undefeated. Everyone definitely had Canelo winning this fight. Some would beg to say the controversy saying Skull's a great boxer, with the Cuban style being tough to punch. And even Canelo himself admitted that, hey, I don't like fighting people that move around a lot. But this fight, it broke records and not in great ways. There was less punches landed throughout the whole fight than there was completely for Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn in 3 rounds.
Okay, let's go back to this real quick. Let's talk about what we got here. We have Canelo, Mexican, versus Skull, Cuban. Okay, if you just follow the people that use the Cuban style really well, that have fought against Canelo in the pros, Canelo doesn't do well with people that move their feet. All right. So getting into that, this fight, I don't even think it was really about if Canelo's going to win this fight. I really think they put Skull in there to get him ready, to get Canelo ready for who? Bud Crawford, that really knows how to move off the angles. So, and what we just saw is that some could argue if Skull was A-sided, Skull could have won this fight.
They, a lot of people were talking about the activity on both parts being lacking. However, let's go from a boxing standpoint, from a boxer coach standpoint. The Cuban style was adjusting to Canelo's Mexican style, and Canelo's Mexican style was trying to adjust to the movement, which counteracts each other. I think they were both kind of weary to pull the trigger just to pull out rounds, or,
I personally think, as a coach, bad matchup. Mexican versus Cuba. No. I can almost say if it's a pure Cuban boxing and it's a real Mexican, straightforward pickaboo, Cubans losing 99% of the time. It is what it is.
Why do you say the Cubans losing?
Not Cubans. Mexicans losing. My bad. Did I say Cuban?
You did say Cuban.
No, Mexicans
But
losing.
even the other way around, why would you say the Mexican enlighten us? Why do you think the Mexicans maybe if you're implying their style is a little bit more inferior?
No, their style is more heavy on the feet, whereas the Cubans move off at angles. So when you have those two styles, it does not favor the Mexican style.
From a fan standpoint, is that a fight that you would willingly want to watch?
With the elite boxers that they are, yes, because it's a chess match with inside the fundamentals.
Okay.
You know, so they're both pros. They both know how to get off the angles. They know how to test the pockets, getting up, setups, reading off the jabs. So at this level, absolutely. And there's a reason why these guys are going to fight. So and that's why the world's going to sit there and want to watch Canelo and Crawford go at it. Now, the you know what the real story is about those two: size, 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 size. It's not the size because they're about the same height. It's the weight that one's been fighting in and comfortable with, and the other one coming up.
Right. And, we've seen Crawford dominate the welterweight division, move up to super welter or light middle, if you would like to say 154. Now he's making the jump to middleweight at 168. 2 weight classes. Have you ever seen someone jump 2 weight classes before and be able to be proficient or dominant in?
Funny you say that. Absolutely.
Usyk?
Jada Lee Medeiros. Come on, bro. We fight at 101. She fights at 102. She fought Team Combat League at 130 last year.
It could also throw in Usyk there.
Usyk for sure.
Maybe Lomachenko, but very
Lomachenko, Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, very
Mayweather.
special,
Special,
athletes, boxers.
high IQ boxers that continue as their career goes on to develop and master every little angle point technique, their jabs, and they build it inside their system.
Now, let me ask you, why do you think Crawford took Canelo? I mean, you have so many contenders at 154 at the moment. You have Charlo, you have Lara, you got Fundora.
Okay, let's be real. Okay, if you everybody's got the Crawford buzz. I got the Crawford buzz. But the reality is Crawford don't sell. Okay, so Crawford is my guy, 100%, and I'll tell you why. Because he's chasing everybody. He's trying to make all the biggest fights. All right, he's moving everywhere up, around. He's doing what it takes to secure his legacy. All right. And we all talk about legacy and so what? But at the end of the day, legacy means nothing unless there's some dollar signs behind that legacy. So he put himself in position, his team in position, his family in position to snag the biggest bag. You know he's a fisher. You know he loves to be on the water and fish. You know he's baiting everybody. He snagged it.
Now, I mean, a lot of people, you see them try to chase the bag, and even talking about Canelo versus Skull, some were even saying that Skull was just in it for the bag. But Crawford genuinely gives off that he has a shot.
No, I think it's as they get into the rounds and they start testing each other, then they'll open up and find out what's going on. But my thing is to see if Canelo is going to try to impose his size, or does Crawford hit Canelo with some good straight shots or at angles that will impede or have Crawford worry. I mean, not Crawford, have Canelo worrying. But I'm going to be honest now. If Canelo comes in and says, I'm beating on everything on Crawford, and he stays tight and walks him down behind 2 gloves, I'd like to see how that finishes, because I think that would favor Canelo and his hook.
Wow. Very interesting key points of, victory there. Let's kind of talk about the mega fight itself. Obviously, Rida season, the Turkish Excellency, he's once again making the fight that the fans want to see. And let's just go on to how his platform has grown recently. This is a mega fight. Do you think this fight would have happened without his influence?
What fight?
Canelo versus Crawford.
It might not have, for real, honestly. Okay, why? I'll tell you why. Because Canelo wasn't really even looking at him. Because it's not a win-win for Canelo. You understand what I'm saying? Because why? Canelo beats him, they say he's a small guy. Right?
Fair enough, yes.
Small guy. So, but when the king comes out and says, here's this bag, $50 million.
It's very hard to argue with that. I mean, make the fight. Now, what do you got to lose?
Life-changing money. You want to talk about legacy? There's no legacy. Legacy does not matter if you cannot take care of your family and yourself. So, but it puts Crawford in the position and an opportunity. If he can outperform Canelo, the
man of boxing,
man, bro,
the face of boxing,
right.
At that.
But you got to remember one thing: when old Gamboa hurt Crawford.
That's a very interesting point you made. And that was one of the arguments leading up to the Errol Spence fight, because even Errol Spence, they were talking about Errol Spence being bigger as well.
Yeah, but we all knew. Oh, I knew. Errol Spence was damaged.
He was damaged.
He's damaged. That's why it looked
just from the tragic car accident and everything. I think that was a great fight, mega fight for him to take care of himself.
Okay, I think they snagged the biggest bag with trying to hide his injuries and trying to market him and sell it in this fight, and I think they did, and that's why he's not coming back, because they realize he's done.
Yeah, and this Crawford versus Canelo too. There's a lot of 50-50. There's many people believing both ways, and it's great.
I don't have a 50-50.
I've heard many people on the social media. There's definitely influence for both sides.
Okay, it might be 50-50. All right, and it very well can be. I just still think Canelo's A side, and he gives him advantage. All right, because I don't see Crawford as the A side. So I just don't. I think it's going to be more swayed than Canelo. And let's be real, Crawford by knockout over Canelo. See, you thought that was a joke too.
Yeah, I was like, "There's no way."
Okay, right. So there we go. That's how simple this gets.
I mean, if you flipped it around, Canelo knockout over Crawford, it makes kind of sense. I mean, we have Madrimov that he definitely touched Crawford, and the face said it all.
So now you get what I'm saying is like, Canelo hasn't been hurt by bigger guys.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? So for Crawford to do that, Crawford's going to have to control him off the front hand, and he's going to tag him with his straight shots. Can't just say his rights, because it's just needing straight shots. If that is not effective like it's supposed to, and Canelo don't respect that, he's coming after Crawford.
And I definitely could see that. Crawford is a great boxer that gets off angles, but there's a respect factor to it. Will Crawford be able to establish any respect to Canelo through his, like you said, straight punches?
The best thing about this fight is just that they're both great fighters, but both fighters are very relaxed, even in the heat of battle. So you're going to see guys that are just kind of doing their thing as a professional. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be great for fans to watch the chess match that goes in between high quality boxing, guys that can really box and not just get matchmake and just people throwing hard punches. You got people that are going to chess match the angle points, the pockets.
Now, let me ask the Turkish Excellency, along with Canelo's crew, do you think there was nothing better for him out there for the time being? In his weight division, possible rematches are
no.
going up?
No. What do you mean? Against Skull?
No, like after Skull. Did you think there was a better fight out there for Canelo?
No. I mean, unless it's Benavidez, and we know that's not going to happen. So, and which I wish would happen, but only because I think he is the face. Benavidez is the face of boxing, and deserves that shot to become the face of boxing. And if Canelo wants to portray that, make the fight. If he's that guy, I get it. The age and the young lion coming up, the size different, and so on and so on. Just
because
let it go.
Canelo was saying he's not going up. Benavidez said he's not coming down anymore. But there was a point in time when they were at the same weight, and Benavidez was
chasing him,
and Canelo never gave him that shot. And now that that's gone, do you think that that's why this Crawford fight was made or look forward to?
This fight was made because of the business of boxing. The fans want it. The business wants it. The world will be watching. Vegas will be lit. I can't wait to see how many people fill in the Raiders Stadium.
Yeah, Allegiant will be packed.
It will be, and it's going to be lit up. It's going to look like an alien ship. And, bro, I'm going to be honest. I don't even have to have tickets. I just want to stand out front.
Dude, the world's watching.
We can literally we'll literally go out to the streets. Let's do that. Let's go to the street and just sit out there and watch all the people. Not saying that we won't go in. Yeah, it's just
the energy is going to be crazy. I mean, the world is literally watching.
You know what? I might just get a hotel and we might just go stay down on the strip for that fight. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, that would be amazing.
And instead of trying to come back and forth, set up a podcast down on the strip.
That'd be awesome, and get some live feedback from some fans. And
let's plan that out. And is the main hotel going to be the MGM? Most likely. Yeah, we got to about getting some rooms reserved.
Amazing fight.
So let's do that.
Definitely could be a contender for fight of the year, depending on how the performance is. Speaking of fight of the year, though.
But wait a minute. I want for real chat. What do you think about that podcast? MGM with
comment down below.
Yeah,
let me know if you would like to see something like that.
We'll Terrence Crawford against Canelo, MGM podcast with JAMBOXX Styles Make Fight. Let us know if you'd like to see that. I think we're going to work on something like that in near future. We're just going to start going mobile and doing the podcast, and we'll bring other people on. Watch. I'm going to show you how we do. How many people we know. They're going to start coming on anyways because they just want to be a part of this movement. So, okay, let's go back to that. So,
speaking of possible contender for fight of the year, Inoue versus Cardenas. To finish off the everyone was falling asleep over boxing.
Upset.
And very upset. I mean, the amount of funds that went into the promotion of these cards is insane to performance expectations. And Inoue versus Cardenas, and like relive through all of the excitement. I mean, it re-jolted boxing back to life.
Okay, you already knew. We went in there. We're hearing the buzz through the whole week. Everybody in the boxing world is talking about how bad the boxing was. Oscar De La Hoya's out there talking how bad boxing was.
Energy was just down.
Let's be real. When people were talking about it, there was a reason, and it was. So when we got to the stadium at the T-Mobile, I met with my guy Timothy Bradley. We were chopping it up right before him going on, and one thing we said, we both agree on, that Inoue is going to save Boxing Weekend and save boxing for this week and make it hype again. And we truly believe that. And it happened. I mean, it didn't happen the way we thought it was going to happen.
Right.
But it was the Inoue fight and the Cardenas fight.
not just for the weekend, for the year, 2025, y'all.
Fight of the year right now. If you didn't see the fight, go back
Go
and
watch it.
We were blessed to be in the stadium and hearing every punch echo, hearing the crowds react to every punch. The energy was just something you have to be in there to feel. It was amazing.
And, from a fan perspective, most of these previous fights, from a fan perspective that doesn't know anything about boxing, it was slow. It was, methodical. Nobody was really pushing the action. There wasn't many punches thrown, and there was nothing exciting about the fights. So from a boxing perspective, we love the art, and from a business side, everything went well. However, for a fan, this was the fight to watch. Everyone focused in on this. And also as a fan, coming to Las Vegas, American debut, people were questioning if Inoue would even have a crowd, if there's fans over here, if people would even want to watch such a low weight class. I know he's unified multiple weight classes before, but he's only fought in Japan or overseas. So everyone here, even us, was questioning, is he going to bring out a fan base?
So the stadium was lit. It was pretty much sold out. It was pretty packed in there. There was some seats available, but for the foremost, you can look around the arena and you couldn't see seats. So I thought Top Rank and them did a great job of selling all the tickets they were doing, especially for a guy that's not groomed in America, but very exciting. But I guarantee it, next time he fights here, don't be surprised if it's sold out. All right, but so he came in as being the monster. They call Inoue the monster, and he lived up to his name. If you got, like I said, you watch that fight, go watch it, man. He got dropped. He got dropped so hard that I didn't think he was going to recover.
Some would argue most wouldn't even get up from that. I mean, he really showed a heart of a champion. I mean, he recovered like so. He came back out the next round firing off again, like nothing even happened.
So if you want to know something about boxing, let me tell you something about boxing. The reason why the coaches and everybody gets their boxers in the best shape as possibly they can get them into is so when they get hit like the Inoue getting hit. All right, most people getting hit how Inoue got hit the other night would not get up from that. But the way his team Inoue trains and the way he trains, it's far surpassed 99% of the real pro boxers out there. So when he got caught with that punch, I thought he was gone. I thought his legs were gone. I thought it was like, oh, he's still hurt. That man recovered so fast and quickly.
And yeah, you got to think, he's hurt when he took the whole count. He took the whole count to get up.
Smart.
Very, very smart move, but that's accepting that he definitely got hit, he got hurt, he got caught, and nobody was counting on Cardenas. The boxing,
13 knockouts.
The boxing, like 26 fights.
What a shot, Cardenas! Big up.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And from the boxing world, not many people have heard of this dude.
No. But bro, he landed the perfect punch.
It definitely was a game changer. Everyone, and so early at that. I mean, look what happened to Ryan Garcia.
So let's go back to that. Okay, so he Inoue gets hurt. He gets up. They're still going at it. I mean, they're going exchanges. So anyone in there can say, I don't know who won those exchanges. And they were not just like touch on the chin exchanges. They're like bing, bing, bada, boom.
Bombs.
Right, thinking that, dang, someone's getting hurt. Mentally, these guys fought through. Mentally, I'm sitting over going like, how did they take a beating like this? How come they're not folding mentally? Great shape, people.
Cardenas definitely, I mean, he was more defensive postured, especially throughout the earlier rounds. He was in shape, though. He took a lot of punches and fired right back.
Cardenas, one thing that was where I think Inoue figured him out a little bit, Cardenas would take a punch, step back, and take And when I mean take punches, and that means on his picky boo guard, but he would counter hard with a 2-3 hook and then read off the next couple punches. And he had Inoue guessing. He did a fantastic job. But then when Inoue figured out the chess match that Cardenas would go back one time and then stop and absorb the punches so he can come back, Inoue would get off the angles and touch him up a little bit more. And now you're starting to see the IQ. And those punches started wearing down on Cardenas. But did Cardenas have a great plan? Man, it was a beautiful fight.
Definitely was exciting because Inoue was coming. And I mean, hard stepping him. Definitely wore Cardenas down. But any moment, as a fan, we were on our toes. Like, what if he gets caught? And we're talking like Inoue was barely getting missed by some of these shots. Some of these shots, if you're a fan and you were like, man, if that landed, who knows?
Cardenas said it best when he was being interviewed. He was like, the boxing's one thing. I could withstand the boxing. But after I blocked the first couple, he kept coming. So that's when I had to adjust. But no matter what, he kept coming with some good pop shots. So those take time. They take toll off when you're on a big round. And you can see the energy level change in Cardenas. You can see the breaking down. So, you get in these, you call them world champion because they fight 12 rounds. They know how to break them down. They know how to get into the late rounds and not to push yourselves and get out of trouble. You understand?
Right. And you got to remember, this is Cardenas' first title fight. First title fight 2 years before he was Ubering.
And you got to remember something, too. No matter what goes on, everybody around the world says if you want to be somebody, you got to come to America. You got to go across the pond, and you got to fight in America. And in a way, crossed that pond, and he ran into an American Mexican.
And that's a lot of pressure. I mean, you're not home. You don't know anyone. No, I mean, a lot of people showed up, but it's not like you're home.
Yo, American Mexican. They didn't throw him in here with some kind of
Asian or
no tune-up. They threw him in here
with a dog.
Right.
Straight up dog.
So, in a way, it's still a small guy at his weight class is still moving up. And let me say, in a way, don't go to 126, bro.
There's nothing. I do not see that happening at all.
Don't go to 126.
He's too small. We're talking like 5'4", 5'5", and he already moved up from flyweight, y'all. I mean, he conquered bantamweight. He conquered super bantam, but he's too small.
You know who I like to see? I know he's retired. And I say he can get down to 126. Let Lomachenko and him go at it.
That would be a super fight. Absolute super fight. I would have to give it to Lomachenko. He's very great off of his angles.
Too big.
And too big at that. He does have pop. But Lomachenko just he can harness that same energy that Inoue gives off. But
stay at 122 anyway.
Yeah. Just simple as that.
Okay. If you really want to know the fight to make between Inoue, Bam Rodriguez, 118. Make it happen. Super mega fight.
Some would even argue
Pay the guys.
Some would even argue Junto Nakatani. And
no, listen. King, make the fight. Bam Rodriguez, Inoue, catch weight, 120.
I personally want to see Bam go against Junto first. They're both at the same weight, 118.
No.
And then go.
No. So you're saying Junto's bigger than Inoue?
Junto? 5'8", yes.
No. In the world of entertainment
no.
Popularity.
No.
No.
Bam is possibly in the top 10 pound for pound.
Right. So you make the biggest fights. Gento gets left out because Gento isn't on that level right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You make the biggest fight for these guys so they can catch the rewards. If the rebound is Gento, then the rebound is Gento. You know? So
all right. And
Bam Rodriguez.
Is Bam 118 or 112?
Nah, 118. I don't give a dang. Get up. Bam, get paid, bro. You know you don't make that kind of money at that kind of weight. Go take that fight. Call it a career if you want to. Do whatever you want to do.
And he has a title defense coming up, actually a title unification
Yeah.
here in July.
And it doesn't get easy on those little guys. Them guys are just going to come and start throwing punches. But, Bam gets off of them angles. You tell him what time it is, Bam. Make that fight. That's the fight to make. Inoue versus Bam Rodriguez.
Wow. Okay. That's an interesting stand, of course.
Chat, come on, Chat. Tell me what you think, Chat.
I think differently.
Chat, tell me what you think. Inoue versus Bam.
Where's it going to be held? Where's it going to be held?
Inoue,
Let me ask you that.
Vegas, right here, bro.
Right here in Vegas. So he's saying, Inoue, hop the pond again.
Oh, or Bam, go to damn Inoue's home.
I mean, that's possible too. We see Brian Norman going out there.
Right. That's crazy. He's going out there.
Yeah, as a welterweight champion.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little. We don't even have that on our schedule to talk about, but we're gonna ad lib this and we're gonna put this one in it. So,
all right.
We got. If you don't know Brian Norman Jr., he's going over to Japan.
Welterweight champion of the world.
Right, and he's defending his title. I'm kind of confused. And so the Normans, they straight up 100 family percent to Team Maderos. So, but I'm kind of confused. I don't like this move because they're A-side. They should be bringing them here with top rank. But now let me tell you, I'm not trying to cause any kind of controversy or anything like that. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. If anyone's gonna go over there and beat somebody's ass, Brian Norman Jr. is gonna go over there and beat somebody's ass.
And that's definitely something commendable at that. So to be a champ.
What I'm trying to say though is, that's how they rock. That's how the father rocks. That's how the son rocks. And they say, line them up. All right. But from the business standpoint, I hope after this fight,
keep it in America.
Keep that shit here.
I mean, keep the tickets, and stuff. But he is making the fight. I mean,
but hey, I'm gonna be
he's
honest.
Hungry.
I'm gonna be honest. We spent some time with them, and I was here when they came to spar. And I'm gonna tell you, Junior, you a dog, bro. You a straight dog. So just keep doing what you doing, man. Y'all lined up for destiny. Just keep doing it.
And the welterweight division is slammed right now. We just had Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia move up. We got Rolly Romero, now the comeback of boxing right now, just entered that state. We have Jaron Boots Ennis. We have Brian Norman Jr. Definitely a lot of super fights that can happen. Definitely a lot of interesting matchups there.
Antoine Russell Jr., Gary Russell Jr.
Gary Russell Jr. at that as well. Is it Antoine Slider?
Yeah, Antoine's small, the younger one. Gary, it's Gary.
Gary, the bigger one?
Yeah. Congratulations to him, to their family, too, just so y'all know. Big up to him on his win and his world title. Their family, we definitely have a history with them and his father, late father, great man, great family man. What his father has done with the Russell family is just truly amazing. So shout out to Gary Russell Sr.
The history of family in boxing is legacy. I mean, there's so many father-son, brother, sister relationships. I mean, we have 2 world champs unified at that. Fondora's a great example.
Another family.
Yeah.
They're family of us. We grew with them in the amateurs. Love to see what they're doing. I think, matter of fact, we hung out with Gabrielle Fondora on her last nationals in Utah before her turning pro right after that. So we get to watch her and her family grow through the pro ranks while we were still working in the amateurs. But we've always built together with the Fondoras, and they've always been real family to us. And you're right. If you're in boxing and you got to face somebody that has a family behind them, it's a hard task, bro.
Yeah, you're definitely in for generational techniques.
You got De La Hoya, Trinidad's. You got Garcia's. You got Telefima Lopez. So you
Lemachenko.
You got a lot of families that are out here.
Inoue's,
yeah. So the Benavides.
It just goes on.
It goes on and on and on. And most of the boxers that are coming into the sport, most of the coaches that are with them have built them when they're young. So it's a family steel environment and care and love, respect. So it's tough. But if you're going to get in this sport and you want to take it as far as you can possibly, have a great team. And if you can, definitely have family. It's going to be rocky. It's going to be tough. It's going to be oof.
And even some of these fighters that are not directly blood related, their coaches and things are basically family to them.
Right.
I mean,
100%.
Crawford's a prime example.
Yes.
Shout out Bo-Mac.
The Bo-Mac. You killing it, Bo-Mac. You run that thing like a tight ship with family. Your coaches. Shout out Bo-Mac is the man.
You see him with Troy Isley and even Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah. He's got a whole stable. I mean, Al, our boy Al, too.
Al.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's got a whole stable of guys and young guys coming up, and they're always working with Steven Shakur and Steven's, was that his cousin coming up. So you got a lot going on in boxing. So
let's talk about the platforms. There's a lot of platforms out there. We got PBC, Top Rank. Now Rida season is just in the boxing world pretty new. DAZN, and then you've seen some of the major platforms fall off as well, like HBO, Showtime, some that used to be Mega. Now we're introduced to a new platform that just recently emerged that fought this weekend, OTX, Overtime Boxing.
Overtime Boxing. Definitely a fan. Anything that brings this much attention onto the eyes of boxing, definitely a fan. With that being said, and me knowing boxing, there's definitely been some hiccups and some rules and some different changes that I have to get used to. And it's a new crew. They're all building. So it's just me watching outside in. I've been watching Brandon, Brett, Siegel. They're the promoters and the matchmakers. I've been watching them, and it's kind of rocky early, but man, they're really pumping out some really great shows.
Yeah, and they carried over some of the viewership from their previously growth on OTE, the basketball. But introducing the new platform, they needed a niche and catch, and I believe them adding what's known as the money rounds and the overtime round might have caught some attention in the boxing world.
Yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of that because to me, boxing's all pure and natural, and if you're going out there and trying to get a knockout in the first round,
and excuse me, but for the people that don't know, for overtime or overtime boxing, basically money rounds are the first and last round. If you get a knockout, you get a bonus for getting a knockout. And then there's an overtime aspect to it, as the name implies. Whenever there's a draw, there's never actually a draw. You go into an overtime round, and therefore that overtime round will decide who wins. So if you have 12 rounds and you get a draw, now you got 13 rounds. And some people argue that's a bit strange. But that is the two different things that make overtime different.
Okay, with me, I'm a traditionalist, so I value the traditional boxing. I get what overtime is doing. They're trying to make it more entertaining. But at the same time, you're trying to go out in the first round to get a knockout. It can expose you, and you can get knocked out. Same thing in the third round. So I think, those bonuses are going to come off of well match-made boxing matches. But if it's me and this is a pro thing and I'm trying to become the world champion, undisputed, multi-level, I'm not going to try to worry about a knockout in the first round. I'm not going to try to worry about a knockout in the third round. I have to learn to box 12 rounds and be relaxed and nothing to spur me on to put myself at risk. So I don't like that end of it. For the entertainment factor, it's cool. But again, I'm not. I think Overtime is doing a fantastic job of getting eyes on the boxing. I think they're doing a great job of moving boxing around the United States. I think they were in Houston just fighting. They fight out of Philadelphia. They use a lot of the split T management team and fighters. I think they're doing a great job over there.
Let's talk about some of the signees that are currently with Overtime. Do you believe that the prospects are good faces for the platform?
Yes. Okay, I do have an issue. I like the signing of the Lugos. I even like the signing of all the Lugo fighters that Overtime has done. They're out of Atlanta. Overtime is actually out of Atlanta too, even though they're really New Yorkers. But so I think that's a great job of them signing the Lugo brothers, the Lugo fighters. One thing I do have an issue with is they just fought in Houston.
For OTX 13.
Yeah, and I get that. But if I'm building a fighter, I'm fighting him in Georgia,
Their hometown?
Atlanta.
To promote them?
Yeah, when I'm letting the commission get to know them, I'm letting them meet the commission. I'm building the A side. I'm preparing them to be the monsters that they want to be, and them have their. I mean, come on, they're GABA. They're Atlanta. They built in that city. Everybody knows them. They'll draw fan bases at them. So yeah, I don't like the Houston thing, but I'm not harping on OTX or Brandon or Brett or Siegel over there. Sometimes you're at the beck of putting on a show and getting these fighters fights, so you got to put them in places.
Yeah. And I mean, in a sense, they can't quite do that for every signee. I mean, you see some signees like Julius Bio and Johnny Mansour being out of California. Brayon Gorham was out of Texas. You got Katakarakis, the Greece now first world champion, according to Overtime. He's from overseas. So I guess you can't quite do it, especially if the fighter's pushing to build a record quickly. But it would be nice, to fight at home, bring out the tickets and fan base.
No, you got to, come on. Nothing against Overtime, all right? But if you're going to build a boxer, and I think they're doing the right thing. They did it with the Mansour, and they was going to do it for Baldo over there in California. Like I said, timing might probably be just an issue. But the Lugos need to be in Atlanta. They need to fight there. And here's a prime example. Mayweather fought in Vegas. All right. Ward fought in Oakland. They built them. They made them world champions. All I'm saying is the Lugos have a fan base.
And out of a huge city at that.
Yeah. The Lugos have a fan base. They got great energy. They're good for boxing.
Family at that.
Yeah, they're good for boxing. Yeah, I like to see how they'll transition into the pro world. A lot of people say they're a little unorthodox boxing style, and I agree with that. But again, a lot of boxers have unorthodox styles. Nate's got 4 fights in, and then his brother has 2 fights in. But it takes time, so they got to learn to slow this down. So, and I think Nate, I heard him talk after his last fight, and he acknowledged that he has to slow things down and be more patient. I think this fight this weekend, he fought a really good fight.
Yes.
I thought he got off of the angles. I thought he felt good about himself. I thought he controlled himself. I think I put a post out there. I think if Nate can do this and become a world champion with that style, he'll definitely be very exciting to watch, because that style is very hard to maintain in that big weight class. And you're getting caught by their bigger boxers, so you're going to have to weather some of those.
They definitely have, more pressure per square inch.
But I did like how I seen Nate's speed come through the zone. So it seems like he really has good pop. Some of his punches are a little unorthodox and they lose pop.
Kind of dissipate as they're
Because he's
on
just
offense.
shooting them at different angles where he's not really shooting it from the gun, from the hips. He's just shooting them at an angle point with no gun or hammer to drive it. So I think when he develops that, I'd like to see Nate, man, be the smaller guy and be like the Usyk and
hurt some people.
I'd like to see him do some damage and
you know, he did win by knockout against a durable fighter.
He hurt that kid, bro. Nice timing, Nate. Came right over it, and you know what? The biggest thing about that punch, it's like he didn't force it. He seen it come. He just came right over top of him, and the guy went down.
Complete reaction, complete adjustment, just perfectly timed. Let's say that. The guy definitely was stunned.
Most people are trying to throw those punches to drop people. All right. And that's the hardest thing about boxing. They want this big, beautiful, pretty punch. All right. But it doesn't come if you force it. All these boxers tell you, dude, I didn't even know I hit him. He went down. Then they go watch about and say, oh, that was a clean shot. So just box, people. Don't try to become a box. If you want to be known as a KO artist, all right, not saying that I can make you into it, but be in the best shape of your life. All right. And why would that make you a KO artist? Because hopefully your shape is better than your opponent and you break him mentally and it's a KO. All right.
What do you think about Elijah's performance? His brother, by the way.
I like Elijah. All right. I really do. Okay. I'm going to keep it real so we can use this as a tool to build with him. Elijah, you got no head movement, buddy. All right. When you throw your punches, you stay and you're looking. So when someone goes down low and starts to come back over to you, you allow them moving your head. Off at an angle. Bro, when you throw your punches, you need to throw off at angles. So Elijah, you have to get your head off the line. You have to. You're at a big man's weight. I hear you. I heard you say something after your last fight. You was talking to the commentator, but I'm going to tell you what a real grown-up says when they hear you say what you said. All right, you said that you're working on technique, and you know that technique. All right, there's no magical technique, bro. There's no magical technique. All right, you have to know the sweet science. A lot of times you was throwing your two, you was lifting your elbow up and driving your two. That's not a quick snapping punch. Your brother actually throws a good two, a good snapping two. So, but okay, I'm not here to harp. These are just things that I see as a coach. But I'm gonna be honest. You're young, and I think y'all just keep working. But you cannot keep your head on the line. If not, you'll be fighting another battle in there when you're getting caught. All right, you want to stay cognizant. You want to take a least amount of punches. All right, so my suggestion is get your head off the line, young man. Throw punches at an angle.
And he fought a pretty mid guy. I got 2-2-2, two knockouts. So every time that guy has won, it's been not by knockout.
Yeah, okay, but the guy was small. The guy was, he was there to get knocked out. All right, and that just tells you they're playing off, and I'm not hating on it, and I commend that they have this accolade, but they're playing off of, I don't know how many knockouts he has, or he's the top knockout killer in the amateurs with 28 or whatever the number is that seems so unrealistic. And now he's not hurting anybody. So you understand, you can get in great shape. You can sway a side by fighting in home all the time. But when it comes down to the real boxing,
and
you can't fake it.
Let's, kind of highlight that. OTX matchmaking. How do you feel about that?
I think they're doing the best that they can with it. I think they're doing a great job, to be honest. I don't think OTX's boxers are fulfilling their end by looking as spectacular as they're supposed to.
Uh, there are a few out there. I mean, you got Elijah Wolf. You got
No, but he's a vet. I'm talking
there's a
about
couple vet Malik Montgomery.
no, the vets are good, but okay. If Malik's last fight, I'm gonna just go there. His fighter looked big. I don't even know if Malik should have been up in that weight class. I have no clue. But his fighter could either cut weight like a monster. I don't know the rehydration cause, but he looked huge. And Malik's normally that dog. And we know Malik. Malik fights everybody. But for some reason, it looked like Malik was a beat man in there. Because I think, as a fighter, when you hit somebody 4, 5, 6, 7 times with your hardest punch and they smile at you, you start to thinking like, dang, I shouldn't be at this weight class.
And I mean, even for women's boxing though, you got Tyra Brown just went overseas for Australia.
Yeah,
beat Sky Nicholson.
I thought that was a bold move, and it paid off for overtime. Brandon Britt, Siegel over there. Big up, Tyra. Way to come out and get your thing, girl. When someone can speak it, do it, get it, eat it, grind it, and spit it out and say it's yours, you did it. Good job, Tyra.
Even O'Shea Jones for female boxing.
Oh, yeah, we love O'Shea. She's straight family. And she's another one. And she'll tell you, I told her dad a long time ago, and this is going to sound crazy, but I told her dad, I said, yo, she's the one. Now, just let her keep developing. Just keep developing O'Shea. You're going to be one of the ones, girl.
Yeah, I mean, they just have a huge portfolio of signees. You even got Haven Brady Jr.
Oh, yeah. Haven's, he's another guy, man. This kid fights with so much heart, so much passion, so much energy.
Also out of Atlanta.
Yeah, but he's always mainly the smaller guy. So it's a double fight for the young man. If you really want to know a fighter, Haven Brady's a fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Grew up with him. Had the honor of sharing a few sparring sessions with him. Him and his father are amazing people.
Another family team. Yes. We love the Bradys. We always have and we always had respect for them, and they've always done it the right way. So
great fighters as a boxer and as a family. They definitely grew up through the amateurs and a little late to some people at that. And look at them; they're on undercards for huge headlining shows for OTX. As far as OTX as well, let's cover the tournament that they recently had. You got Katakaracas that we just mentioned not too long ago. He's the middleweight tournament OTX winner. How do you feel about tournaments?
I'm going to be honest. Because you talked about the tournament, I didn't know it was a tournament. I heard about the tournament. I didn't pay attention. I don't think a tournament style works in boxing. Honestly, I really don't. You might have that. Amateurs do it. They got to cut weight to get it every day. But other fighters can get hurt, get damaged going through a bracket, and it carries on for week after week. It loses its luster.
It actually carried on multiple months.
I know, and it lost its luster. It's like nobody. Let's be real. How many people are talking about the OTX tournament?
At the time, I'm unsure. I just kind of followed OTX, and the next fight, I'd see. Oh, there's the next fight, but I didn't get to see through all of them. Katakaracas just won his first title.
Yeah, big up to Katakaracas and Overtime for getting him that and putting him in position to win that.
First Greek.
Yeah, it's a good story. It's great for Overtime, but I'm not too big on the tournament stuff. Let's see how it goes from here on out. I just think it takes too long. Way too long, and then people are making other fights. People are winning, losing in between as their pro career goes on. So people adjust. It takes too long.
And let's go into the current state of boxing right now over this past week. We have a lot of mega cards, and the performance of these mega cards didn't quite meet the expectation of the fans.
All I can say is this. All right. Part of what we do and continue to do is all the cards aren't going to be great. Some are just cards to be made up. And that's what you're seeing right now. But let's be real, there's a lot of good fights out there. So, but yeah, is there going to be some?
It's just that I guess you could say the Fatal Fury card with the New York and Rida season putting on the card.
Yeah, but still, okay, let's forget about the fights. All right, let's forget about the fight real quick.
Okay.
Was the boxing world on buzz waiting for all this?
Oh, everybody was on their toes for months.
All
months.
Right. So that's the biggest thing. We're at great anticipation. So let's we can't do anything about the fights. We can learn and build from those fight matchmakers, or we can learn from the business side. Maybe they wanted that exactly how it played out.
Now, as far as the cards go and the excitement leading up to that, since the Rida season is providing that type of anticipation, do you think that the cards leading up for other platforms have to meet the same expectation, or is it going to set a new trend?
Yeah, that's all going to be based on who's the main event.
Right, and some would argue all three of them could be main headliners.
Right. So, okay, I'm going to be honest. Canelo cards suck to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fair enough as far as...
I'm honest. Canelo was good. I wish you had a better code. So that's my opinion. So, yeah,
is Rida's season setting the tempo for other platforms to keep up with the amount of mega fights? I mean, if you see one headlining event where you're only anticipating one fight versus three.
No, Rice is doing the great thing. I'll tell you what the King's doing. He's pulling from everybody's promotion company. If it is 360 Promotions and he wants to do a fight with one of their fighters, an MVP fighter, he's going to pay both of those to come and bring him to Riot season. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's a great thing, and he's going to pay him the most money to get that fight going on. Whereas it could get lost, that fight could get lost because the promoter don't want to co-promote.
And, maybe the Turkish Excellency himself breached the gap between promoter and fan. You got to believe he's a fan himself.
Yeah, I think I definitely think it's innovated. I definitely like the changes. I remember back in the days when one or two fights popped on the TV screen, Friday night fights and some Saturday fights, and we were satisfied. Now there's fights everywhere. Everybody owns a promotion company.
There's so much to talk about.
Look at Jay Lee. Let's go to Jay Lee. Jay Lee is Team Combat League. Jay Lee's pro. Jay Lee's going to be fighting in Puerto Rico in December for the Puerto Rican national team. Look how much different avenues that you can be as a fighter looking for the experience. And that experience, Jay Lee is setting the trend. If you don't realize what's going on, these girls are calling Jay Lee. These amateurs are calling Jay Lee, asking her, hey, can you give me some information about Team Combat League? Jay Lee's first thing to say, do it. All right, you get one round, you get to experience all the entire pro experience, the same glove size, no headgears, the cameras. So it's preparing them. So you have more and more avenues.
If y'all haven't checked out Team Combat League, it's a very great platform to introduce boxers to the pro level, let alone be exciting. There's only it's a team of fighters where they all fight one round in order for a team win. It doesn't go on your pro record. Definitely check them out at teamcombatleague.com. Can also watch for free on Dr. Phil's Merit TV. Jada just got done fighting. If you want to check out her fight, you can check it there. If not, check her socials.
Yeah. So there's a lot of avenues for all these fighters, and Jay Lee is really setting the trend of helping these girls are reaching out to her. They're reaching out to her and saying, hey, what do you think I should do it? Jay Lee's like, do it. It doesn't count. It'll prepare you. Where you can come right out the amateurs and go into a pro fight, and you can be really nervous. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But if you go Team Combat League for a season, fight 3 or 4 fights, 1 round, 3 minutes, you get in and out, and you're like, okay, that was cool. I'm good with that. That was definitely cool.
And it doesn't go on your record.
No, it goes on a team combat record, but it's not associated with your professional boxing record, so it doesn't count. So why wouldn't you do it when it's the same kind of atmosphere, same kind of rules of the gloves, no headgears, but it's only one round. So we tell everybody, Jay Lee is a huge advocate of Team Combat League, and it's crazy exciting, bro. Wow, the fights this weekend was just amazing.
Definitely.
Season 3 is
If you-
going berserk.
Y'all need to check out Las Vegas Hustle versus the Arizona, the Phoenix Fury.
They went in double overtime.
If y'all want to see what Team Combat League's all about, that is definitely the two teams to watch.
And if you don't know, Jay Lee fights on
Las Vegas Hustle.
they're 3-0. They're first in the Team Combat League, and Jay Lee is actually 4-0 in Team Combat League. So y'all just go and support, man. It's especially if you care about boxing, so you understand. Like I tell everybody, people ask me, "Hey, how long do you think Jay Lee will fight in Team Combat League?" I said, "Well, she'll fight for the next year or 2 years in there." And they're like, why not longer? Because she would probably be a big time pro, world champion, setting up mega fights. But she will always go back and say, my roots that helped me get here was to Team Combat League and to definitely Dewey Cooper. I mean, and there's a point in time that Dewey could have said, hey, John, at the moment we can't take Jay Lee. She's not what Team Combat is looking for at the moment, and you can retry next year. But she made the team. She made 2 teams, but they still could have denied her. So they took a shot on her. She's one of the smallest girls in Team Combat League.
But at the moment, the face of her weight class.
Yeah, so,
She's the one.
It's all right. It's not even really about that, but she's the smallest, and she's really just utilizing this to honestly help some of these young females that are getting into the boxing world to see that there's different avenues to get comfortable. They reach out to her. They want questions, not only about that, about how she secured branding with Venom. You know, there's a lot that people don't see that's happening with Jada Lee that's gonna change the future.
And, behind the scenes too. And these new platforms and stuff, would you say that it's evolving boxing?
Yes, definitely. Okay, listen, when I grew up, this is what I used to think. When I grew up and I seen boxers, I was like, oh man, those are some hard and you don't want to mess with them. But now what I really know is they're all mischiefs. They're mischiefs. And then what level of thinking that they can take it and what level of commitment that they can take it. Most intelligent kids with smart, intelligent parents, they're not running to a boxing gym, bro. They don't even want to go through the stress. They don't want to go through the hood. They can't even...
The fight. There's not really a reason to.
Right. There's not. The mentality is totally different. People don't fight. So... with that being said, it's I think the platforms like MVP, Mischiefs, all the influencer brands, Aiden Ross over there with what is it? I forget, Briskowski Promotions, but the Aiden Ross group over there. All these eyes on the boxing. I would love to see Aiden Ross take one of those guys over there and build him into a real fighter and get him into a real fighter.
That would be crazy, right?
Come on.
Jake Paul is doing it.
Come on, Aiden.
Jake Paul's doing it. He's about to face a former world champion and actual fighter. We'll get into that on a later podcast. Y'all stay tuned.
Hey, but Aiden, for real, I like the boxing content. The MMA with the hood people, no. It looks like a little bunch of kid bitches wrestling. So it doesn't look good. And those kids don't, well, okay, maybe you might get better influencers that have trained it or something over time. But boxing's where it is, bro.
With that, what's your current pound for pound list looking like?
For boxing?
Yes.
It's a good one. Oh God.
You got wiggle room. We'll say,
You got to go with Terrence Crawford. I definitely like Terrence Crawford. But if my number one is going to be Usyk, so
yours is Usyk.
Yeah, my number one's Usyk by far.
I think that's fair. Him being the heavyweight, he's like on top of boxing, quite literally. If any of the other boxers were to fight him, who's coming out on top? Usyk.
When you talk about pound for pound, you were talking about IQ.
Yeah, and let me ask you, smaller guys, where's Inoue?
Well, he's not number two.
You got Crawford at number 2?
Nope.
You got Canelo at number 2?
Nope.
Oh wow, y'all, this is gonna be interesting. Who do you have at number 2?
Benavidez.
175, light heavyweight.
Benavidez. Hey, you gotta look at number one, big boy that can hit.
And it's surprising you say that because I've seen some lists where he's not even in the top 10.
Yeah.
Are you?
You know why they're doing that? Because they don't say his weight class is stacked.
That actually, 2 of his guys are in the top pound for pound in his weight class.
But it's not a stacked weight class.
Yeah, there's not many fighters in there that can put up a performance worth of being a champion. We have Dmitry Bivol and, of course, Archer Beterbiev, the Canadian, both ranked in the pound for pound list for multiple branches and belt organizations for boxing. I have Benavidez on my list.
You have to, bro.
Yeah.
I watched him. I see how he sets up his angle points. He does it from a different kind of standpoint because he's long, but he does it in a smart way. I get with it and I rock with it. I see what you do, Benavidez, and I appreciate you allowing us to watch y'all and spend time in camp with y'all. And I'm a fan, my man. Thank you.
That's a bold statement for you to have him as number 2 because that. Let me ask you: are you implying that Benavidez is better than Canelo?
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, there's people on there because. Okay, let me ask you this: who's higher on your list, Canelo or Crawford?
Crawford.
Inoue, Canelo.
Inoue.
Oh wow! So y'all, we my father is saying Canelo's lower than top 5.
Yes. At this moment in time, yes.
Does the performance with Skull affect that decision?
No.
Wow. So you previously already had him lower.
Well, how many losses Canelo have?
2.
Right. How many draws he have?
1 or 2.
So, how many times is he A side?
All but 1?
So you get it? All right. Can he box? Yes. Is he A side? Yes. All right. Does he be number 1 on pound for pound? No. Not even number 2.
Honorable mentions towards the more bottom of your list, I should say. You have your top 5, I would say, maybe 6. Well, who's your honorable mentions down near 10?
Tank.
Yeah,
Tank. He hasn't lost.
No.
He hasn't lost, and I honestly think unless he's done with the business side and he's mentally destroyed about boxing, if Tank has his mind straight and he trains correctly, I want to see him go to war. He didn't go to war with Lamont
Rhodes.
Right. So I think that, when you get in these stages with boxers, when they start getting longevity in their career and they're starting to learn what the refs are looking for and how to touch people and how to do things, and they play it kind of safe now. All right. So that's where these boxers get into these. And I think that's and they're satisfied with their pay.
My top 10, we're definitely looking at Usyk at the top as well. I got to agree with that. My number 2 and 3 would be Canelo and Crawford. That's me. I mean, that's the fight that's leading up. I'm gonna leave it up to that until the decision is, and I believe that will be fight of the year. Number 4, I personally have to give it to Tank, only because knockout artist, And Inoue number 5, just because of the 2 weight class. Tank is a little bit heavier. Both of them have 90% plus knockout percentages. How many times do you ever see that? Hardly ever. I mean, the only time before them would be Deontay Wilder. And nearing towards the bottom of my list, definitely have Bivol in there since he won. I don't have Beterbiev in there just because he lost, and it's just not the fight I'm looking for, the rematch or the trilogy at the moment. Benavidez, Bam. Benavidez, Bam. You could argue Telefimo somewhere up in there, but Brian Norman and Boots or Ennis, definitely. I would love to include a welterweight. Fundora is even creeping in there, him being a unified champ. So definitely exciting stuff coming on. So definitely exciting. From a boxer standpoint, I'm always on my toes and stuff. From a business perspective, I think there's a lot of money being made throughout boxing, and I think the promoters are doing a very great job promoting the fights.
The money is like no other. All right, when you do your time and you treat this like a professional, I'll name out one name. Rolly.
And I mean, as a fan, there's so many more avenues nowadays. I mean, you have so many more platforms, different types of boxing. Look, we got bare knuckle boxing.
Okay, that's okay. This is where it's going to get sketchy. All right, what you're seeing with a lot of these pro boxers and their names are by great promotion companies building them. All right, so what I'm trying to get at is I'm not seeing the next core group of next big time boxers coming through. Not saying they're not, and maybe they're trying to weed themselves out as they start moving towards the top. But to get back to all these platforms, you got to remember who makes the best stars. And the truth to be known is Golden Boy, Top Rank,
The OGs.
Al Heyman. Look at all the fighters that are fighting the mega fights right now. You know where they're coming from.
The original traditional boxing.
They're coming. But what I'm trying to get at is these are businesses that know how to build boxers. All right. So when you go to MVP and you go to these newer companies like OTX, they're still learning how to build boxers. They're still learning how to run the business of boxing. So there's going to be some hiccups, and meaning like MVP. Goodness, can somebody tell me why Wana, being an A-side prospect, has a draw? Can we say onward boxer Natalie Dove also in her debut with MVP gets a draw?
And a 3-minute fight at that.
And a 3-minute fight at that. And,
for females.
And I'm not, okay. She's not going to like this, but I didn't have Natalie winning that. All right. I think they jumped way too quick, got into it way too fast. I think Natalie, in my opinion, should just stick to the 2 minutes and let the 2 minutes ride it out. And all these people stop with this 3-minute stuff. The reality is the females don't hit hard enough. You just don't. So you have to box. And Natalie just was not using her jab as well. I'm not saying it was a coach. Her coach told her the basic key. Told her, come on, man. I'm not even hating on the coach. Her coach told her, hey, 1, 2, clean up with the 3. That's basic. That's day one kind of type crap. But then Natalie wouldn't come out without a jab. And the other girl was flicking her jab out of Natalie, catching her because she's longer. So, and then even beating her on the exchanges. So,
and, that's, you say you didn't have her winning, but and she says in her post-fight interview that she believes that she should have won by split. Do you think that promotion and business wise that she should have won by split? As a fan, you might say, or from a coach.
let me put it like this. Let's go to the neutral point. Let's say that was a great opportunity by MVP, and they judged it fairly to see how they want to build that brand. Let's say what is her name that Natalie fought, Natalia? Let's just say she just earned her spot on the MVP roster. So I don't even know, but these companies are rushing these people out there. I'm gonna tell you, there's a couple females coming up, that has come through the amateurs.
And
I'm almost saying the amateur stuff, it's fundamental boxing, people. I know your coaches teach you, get in great shape, impose your will, walk them down. But if you have someone with IQ in front of you and sees everything you're doing and knows the boxing, that walk you down shit ain't gonna work. And then you're getting caught, and now you're getting frustrated. What I'm trying to tell you, this is the simple rule. Learn to read off the jab. That's how simple this is.
And speaking of platforms, major and OG platforms at that, and how they're evolving, let's touch on how you were talking about the MMA for Aiden Ross. Let's go back to the OG, UFC. How do you think they're doing as a platform and their growth and promotions at the moment?
I think UFC has done an amazing job. I mean, they took a brand and uno number one. When you take a brand and make it number one and no one else can compete with you, Dana White, you my guy, bro.
And, UFC, they're on their 315th show, man.
Amazing. Okay, I don't know much about the business side of all that. I know he's getting into boxing.
With Turkish Excellency on Canelo and Crawford, he is co-promoting.
I'm skeptical about their way they're doing how they're going to run it. But you know what? I'm all eyes on because I want to learn. And they might put something in my mind, in my angle, where I'm like, oh, I didn't see this angle. I like it.
I just want to ask you, could you see co-promotion between MMA and boxing on certain platforms? And if so, how do you think it would work?
I don't see it, bro.
It would be too confusing or hard, right? Like, and could you imagine like seeing a boxing match and then cutting to like an MMA fight?
Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah.
Because I don't see boxers willingly going to the UFC and UFC fighters willingly coming to boxing. And some will argue the pay is way too different.
Yeah, I don't see it.
For instance, when Conor McGregor came over for Floyd Mayweather, he's made more money in one boxing fight than he has in multiple years in the UFC for less of a brutal battle, being the bigger guy. So I don't know how they're going to co-promote that. That is very interesting, though.
I don't think it's going to happen.
It's up in the works. Just a little hurt. But UFC's deal with ESPN supposedly also passed. And people were surprised that didn't go through. ESPN's a huge network. And there's word that 2026 Netflix may be a deal. And we did see Netflix with Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Some would beg to differ that, Jake Paul versus Tyson had a couple glitches, laggy, but Netflix is a huge platform. Could you see them getting into combat sports?
Oh, most definitely. I think they're just too big of a giant not to. And I think that I think we're going to see some amazing things happen in the next couple of years with the Netflix brand and boxing.
So you think boxing will also transfer over to Netflix?
It already has.
It has once, but could you see it as a consistent thing? If UFC does a deal with Netflix, UFC will be a part of Netflix. Could you see boxing platforms being a part of Netflix?
Absolutely. They're testing it, and it's killing it. So why wouldn't you just do it? And it's a win-win because Netflix brings all their subscribers over.
And Netflix is pretty worldwide, I'd say. A lot of people that aren't introduced to boxing would have to be like definitely introduced to boxing through Netflix. I mean, has any other sport gone through Netflix?
Oh, I don't even know, but
I haven't seen another sport or let alone combat sports collab with a TV provider.
yeah, I believe they're so. It's just network deals, bro.
And let's touch on the MMA scene. What type of fighters do you see being the most successful throughout mixed martial arts? What styles, what arts do you see being more prevalent, or is there any at all?
I'm everybody knows I'm a wrestler. I wrestled. I'm a big fan of wrestling. And if you just go look at the history of UFC and their champions and the world champions, every one of them has a background in wrestling. All right, you cannot say every one of them have a background in boxing, Muay Thai, but every one of them tries to add that a world champion has a background in wrestling. It's just one of those sports that when you get into wrestling, you taught to kill. You can kill a man with your hands.
And there's those fighters. You got Khabib wrestling bears over in Russia and stuff.
He can literally kill somebody, maul him down to death. And if you exhausted, and if you felt like saying your time is done, you beg for him to kill you because you're so tired.
Yeah, you got Merab Dvalishvili, the one that just beat Sean O'Malley, a wrestler from Russia. Russia, it seems to be pretty prevalent with these wrestlers.
Bro. John Jones.
John Jones.
Come on, bro. The best ever. Has what kind of history behind it?
Wrestling.
What does his brothers do?
Wrestling.
Right. Okay, come on, man. You got to have that wrestling. And why do you have to have wrestling? It's a different kind of mindset. That you're continuously attacking, you're mauling on someone, you're getting off at angles, you're pressuring pressure points. You can literally snap someone's shoulder, you can rip it out of socket, you can do all kinds of stuff, and wrestlers do that most people don't understand. All right, so you get into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you can break something, but if you get into Muay Thai, you're throwing elbows and kicks. All right, you get into wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you kill people.
And what fighters or type of styles do you think best counteract wrestlers if they're fighting an MMA fight? Do you think boxers do well against wrestlers?
See, that's the problem. When wrestlers have the fundamentals and they add on, just say Brazilian and some boxing stuff, it's super hard. It's super hard to beat that guy. Now he's just added on another martial arts. So I would tell anybody, you want to get in MMA, wrestle, go collegiate wrestling, go wrestle, add some boxing, add some jiu-jitsu, killer.
I mean, there are some wrestlers that get beat by different styles. We witnessed this weekend, Bilal was a UFC champion, a great wrestler. A lot of people called him boring, and he got a lot of backlash on social media for just being the guy who wins by taking people down, wrestling them, nothing really submitting or anything like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but he would win the match, just like Merab did against Sean O'Malley.
Boring.
It's boring, but
you can maul someone, all right, and put shit behind it, all right? You can put some hits and stuff to make it entertaining. So if that's the kind of fighter he is, they need to kick him out the league.
Well, he stood up and fought against Jack Madalena, and Jack is known to be a boxer, and Jack landed more significant strikes against him to be the new champion. So when wrestlers transition into other styles or other sports, because unlike boxing where we have tons of avenue and a professional league, wrestling only has three avenues: retirement, after collegiate, you got WWE or MMA. So
Coaching.
how do you think wrestling transfers over to MMA, which is the closest thing to professional wrestling?
If these wrestlers that wrestled D1 wanted to transfer into MMA and had the mind mentality to be a killer, they have all the advantages.
And one of the main highlight wrestlers that were a huge impression on the NCAA was Bo Nickel, and he just recently fought. He's a great wrestler, champion, NCAA champion at that. Definitely one of the upcoming UFC prospects, and he just lost due to striking, and there was some controversy as he posted him being 30 to 40 pounds overweight a week before his fight. Do you think that plays some factor whenever these wrestlers are cutting that much weight as they're known to do?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why you got to cut that amount of weight. If you're gonna cut that amount of weight, I'm gonna be honest. If you're gonna cut that amount of weight, you better be A-side.
And, I believe he was A-side, as the other guy was only ranked like number 13.
Okay, so here's where it lies. Wrestlers are taught to wrestle.
Right.
All right, they're not beating on anybody. They're pulling. They're being physical. They're looking at weaknesses to exploit the holes. Okay, and they're not taught how to get beaten on, how it feels, how to be relaxed. So if Bo was getting caught on, did he not relax, stay behind defense? I haven't seen the fight yet, or the fight. I can't wait to watch it to find out where to go wrong. Most of the time, it has to be with lack of experience of being relaxed.
And, wrestlers are taught to scramble at that whenever, they're told not to give up points or anything, as their sport does. Being calm and relaxed might be a little bit more difficult for them to do, as someone with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has to in order to secure a lock. Or
you have to be calm and relaxed. Regardless what goes on, I don't care what goes on if you're losing the fight. You can't spaz out.
And so wrestling, do you believe, because wrestlers are known to be pretty prevalent and successful within the UFC, do you think that maybe a part of that transition has to get used to getting striked upon?
Sparring. Wrestling sparring is totally different from fighting sparring. You know that. Even the MMA sparring they do it kind of fakely. Fake ground and pound, so you do your defense. Boxing, there's no faking that. You get in there and you put those gloves on, the only thing saving you is some head movement and big gloves and a headgear.
If there is a headgear.
No, but if you're sparring, you're going to take the precautions, and you're trying to make it as safe as possible. All these people that are trying to win sparring and trying to put clips out saying they better the sparring, y'all are a joke. All right,
Clip farming.
Yeah,
clip farming.
Y'all are a joke because everybody could be. I know there's several times when Jay Lee sparring, and we've always figured out the person, and Jay Lee would come over to me and literally say, is there something you want me to work on? Because I know every habit they do. And it's boring. And Jay Lee would literally, after maybe sparring someone 3 times, saying, hey, I don't want to spar them no more because it's just going to get bad. I know every bad habit they do. And all I would do is draw them into the weak habit and beat on them. And that's really not teaching me anything. So y'all don't know that end. We could play that game too, but we don't. We're trying to get better. We're trying to work with bigger girls. We're trying to. Jay Lee wants to be the best. So if you know this world, you've never heard Jay Lee complain about who she sparred. She sparred up to 50, 60 pound female pro boxers. And y'all out in there, no. Y'all know that who we work with, y'all all know she does this, and she walks around and she fights pro at 102.
And I remember you mentioning that with Jada Lee, y'all are trying to promote female boxing, trying to grow it.
Most definitely.
Do you think that MMA for women's may be more looked upon than female boxing at the moment? And what do you think could possibly help female boxing?
I don't know if I don't know if UFC fighters are looked more heavily upon. I think they do a better job on selling the show and promoting their females.
Yes. I mean, the fight for 315 co-main was Shevchenko, the lady that's been
She's awesome.
10 defenses is insane. But for females to be a co-main is amazing. And in boxing, we haven't really seen that too often. I mean, we had one show with Katie Taylor and
Amanda
Serrano. And,
had 2 shows with him.
two
Going into the
shows.
third.
But it seems like we're struggling as in the boxing community to promote these females on bigger cards.
It's okay. It's tough. The female boxing is not plentiful like male boxing. But the good thing is, boxing's global. So if you're willing to go travel to other countries that have particularly small females or female boxers, like your Asian continents, your Mexican continents, you can be a global star there. So boxing is global. So with Jay Lee, we're going to fight everybody and anybody. Let's get to it.
And speaking about Jada Lee, what do y'all have coming up? What tell us what's in the works?
Yeah, Jay Lee just got back from South Carolina, Spartanburg. She fought for Team Combat League. She went 2-0 over the weekend. She put on an amazing clinic of boxing. She's currently 4-0 in Team Combat League, and she's on the Las Vegas Hustlers. They're 3-0 in first place in Team Combat League. We just wrapped that up yesterday. Actually, she just got off the plane today. We picked her up from the airport. We got 2 more days of training, and then we're leaving for Colima, Mexico on Wednesday. She'll be having her second pro fight under Rios Boxing with Jaime Rios. We got a wonderful card going on out there. We got a lot of top-ranked boxers coming in. We got some top-ranked executives coming to watch the fight. It's going to be another step up for Jada Lee. We're going to be 2-0. Jada Lee's been looking sharp in her Team Combat League, so we're super excited to get past this chapter. And I think we got news coming back. As soon as we get done with this fight, I think we might have a third pro fight date coming up after this fight. So that's big news, just to be active. And this is what she wants. So she's super excited. So just to be in this world of pro boxing and her being able to live out her dreams and understand that she really is starting to own who she is and understanding that she really knows what she's doing and she's starting to master everything that she needs to master, and she's starting to see things early, and her punches are tighter, quicker, sharper. So, and she's fairly really young, so we're super excited about. I can't wait when she becomes a full-time professional. Y'all are going to see something special.
Absolutely. Before we close out on this first episode of the podcast, is there anything you'd like to let the fans know about? Anything that you'd like to tell them? Any statements? Any controversies? Or
Yeah, no, super excited about boxing, people. It's out there. Y'all start tuning in. Tune into Team Maderos. We're in it for a career, and we believe we're the best. All right, so we work that way. Everybody around us that's been around us who are pros, they all agree. We don't cut corners, and we know what we're talking about. and the people around my circle is they're in our circles because we can articulate together.
Well, there you go, guys. There you have it. Thank you for watching the JAMBOXX Podcast, wherever you're watching, listening to. Look soon for episode number 2. We'll be covering all combat sports along with more sports and what's trending. Make sure to like and subscribe down below. Comment what you think about certain topics. And make sure to join the other social media platform links down and below. Make sure to join the Discord community if you would like to interact and join channels for multiple sports. Other than that, thank you for watching JAMBOXX Podcast, where styles make fights, and we'll see you in the next one.